let it break at your name still. Call the sea to still the rage in me at your name. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, call these bones to live, call these lungs to sing once again. Now obey. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, 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 you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, 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 you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, your name is a light that the shadows can't deny. Your name cannot be overcome. Your name is a light forever lifted high. Your name cannot be overcome. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus, you silence fear. Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble. Jesus, Jesus.
I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. Unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemy, till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Oh, your love has called my name. I've been born again into your family. Oh, your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears were drowned in perfect love. You rescued me, and I will stand and say, I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. Oh, you rescued me, and I will stand and say, I am a child of God. Oh, I am a child of God. Oh, I am a child of God.
Hey, good morning everyone. Welcome to church this morning at Narre Warren Baptist Church. I know it's not exactly what we were planning for, but here we are again. I hope everyone is looking after themselves and taking care of themselves and keeping safe. And hopefully we'll be out of this lockdown soon and we can all meet again together in church physically. And we look forward to that. As we come to the end of our missions month, We're just going to bring a message today on what I believe is something that is such an important parable that Jesus explained in 4 of the Gospels. And this is about giving that sparks a miracle. And I'm so conscious before I start this morning that for some time now in the past 18 months, I believe become more aware of God's awesome presence on his people here, particularly at Narre Warren Baptist Church in our fellowship. And I believe God's presence has been impacting in a big way. God has been doing a job on people, and he continues so today. I believe God has been providing visions and dreams and words and information, creating pathways, providing knowledge that is leading his people into more of his presence and love every day. I know for some there has been a hunger to know him more, to live in his presence more each day, a newness, a desire fueled by the deep sense that God is in control and that God is present. Now for some, this impact, I'm aware, has been a struggle, trying to understand what God is doing and what God is saying, not being sure of how to respond and what impacts it would have on me, on us. Ultimately, this has led to some making some big decisions in regard to what God is saying to you. Some big decisions that involve changes in the way we do things, in our job, our career paths, schooling. I believe that God has been gently prodding people for years. Some may testify that it's more of a gentle prod, that it's not more than a gentle prod, but more like an earthquake. So as I mentioned, as we come to the end of Missions Month, just reflect back on our first week where Matt was taking us through, encouraging us that it starts with us, the church, and giving us the challenge once again of our missions target of $25,000 this year that will go towards the missions for next year. So this is a giving challenge. This is a gift that we, in a faith promise that we ask God to provide for us. Then in our second week, Pastor Megan led us through some encouraging words and praying for one another about reaching out to the community, such a big aspect of missions. And last week I was really encouraged, thank you Jared for your message. Jared's one of our young missionaries who works for YWAM, Youth with a Mission. And he started in the highlands of Papua New Guinea and went down to the deep south in Tasmania. And I believe he's now over in the independent country of Western Australia, in Perth. So thank you, Jared. And Jared took us through the incredible challenge that God gave us in the Great Commission. But he also shared with us some common 3 fears that people may have that involve missions. And I was really encouraged, Jared, talking about those fears that we can probably relate to. One is that it's just too big a task. How am I going to impact the world? The second one is I have nothing to offer. I have no skills. How's God going to use me? And I want to talk a little bit on that this morning. And thirdly, he talked about a fear that it's going to be a bad experience for us. I mean, what's going to happen if I go up and knock on someone's door, if I go and talk to someone, if I share an act of kindness to someone, if I go into missions in other countries, it's going to just be a bad experience to me. And these are natural fears, but it was encouraging to hear some incredible messages and incredible stories that Jared shared with us at sharing the gospel with others. We'll start off with Matthew 4 in 18 to 20. 2 people who were professional fishermen at the time, and Jesus stopped and said, "Come follow me." Peter and Andrew, the fishermen, they were professional fishermen all of their life. They knew their job well. They had been fishing for years. It was well known to them. It was very familiar. They were professional. And Jesus told them to leave their fishing business and come follow me, to become fishers of men. They had just caught the biggest catch of their life, and they responded to God by willing to come to God and say, "Here I am, take me. Lord, I give you my skills. Lord, I give you my talents. Lord, I give you my experience. Lord, I give you my energy, my availability." And by living in his presence, by learning to love God more, by asking for his amazing plan for your life to be revealed to you. For most, my guess is that it involves an act of giving and releasing. And what we often bump into is the feeling of, okay, Lord, where am I going to get to replace what I have given away? I need a miracle here, Lord. And today I believe God would like me to share some insights from a well-known story in the Bible that best illustrates the kind of giving that sparks a miracle. And if there's one word that I would use to describe the Christian life, it would be giving. Giving to God what I have. Giving to God my time, my gifts. Giving to God my money. Giving to God my experiences. Giving to God what I've got to offer. I offer these to you, Lord, to use and dedicate them to you. Well, the story of the feeding of the 5,000 is an important story which illustrates the principles of giving. And at that time, the 5,000 is recorded as the count of men only. So on top of that, we've got women and children, so the number would be more. And some theologians estimate this number could be 10,000 or more people. And this story of the feeding of the 5,000, this miracle is told in 4 of the Gospels in the New Testament, in Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. And I really believe that the Lord really wanted us to understand the principles of this amazing miracle. Why? Because the principles of giving are so important. And John tells us that the hero of this story is a little boy. Here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks to God and distributed it to the people. John talks about this in John 6, verse 9 to 11. Now there's only one person who brings a packed lunch to this picnic. And what this little boy have, he gives to God. And that tells me one thing, that age is no barrier to God, whether you're young, in between, whether you're old. Now, what's the big deal about this story in the Bible? I believe the big deal here is that this story illustrates the kind of giving that sparks a miracle. When you have a need in your life, you need to plant a seed in your life. Now, there are a couple of things that this little boy did with his lunch. 3 things that are the same 3 things that you and I need to do with your time, with your energy, with your money or whatever, when you need more of it, when you need more of something. You need to give it to God so that he can multiply it, just as Jesus did with the 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Now, how did that little boy give? 3 characteristics I want to share with you this morning of how he gave. 3 characteristics of the kind of giving my life away. And I'm not just talking about money this morning. I'm talking about your life, giving it to Jesus. 3 things you do in order to have God bless you with more of what you need. Number 1, giving what I have, not what I don't have. Well, this little boy gave 5 small barley loaves. These are common loaves of bread in the Middle East at the time, poor man's bread. Never underestimate what God can do with ordinary people with limited resources. God never asks you to give what you don't have. This little boy had bread and fish, and he gave it all to Jesus, and Jesus multiplied it. You give what you have. You could be facing a situation in your life today or tomorrow when you ask the Lord to help you in this one, and there are many examples of what's happening in our lives today and in our world today. You could be coming short of time, of energy, of intellect, of whatever, of patience. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, but I don't have anything to give to God." And this is one of the fears that Jared mentioned was a common fear in going out to the world, particularly with missions. One of the fears, I don't have anything to give. I'm not talented. I don't have any gifts. I'm not a musician. I can't sing. I can't play music. I can't go on missions. I can't talk to people like the others do. I can't share the gospel. I don't have much to give to God. It's not your ability, it's your availability. The first thing about this little boy is he gave what he had, what was available. Notice this verse in 2 Corinthians 8 verse 12. The important thing is to be willing to give as much as we can. That is what God accepts. And no one is asked to give what he has not got. Number two, a second characteristic is giving in faith, in believing. This little boy didn't tithe his lunch, he gave all of what he had. He didn't hold back. He said, "Here, take it all." I've often wondered that if I were that little boy and Jesus asked me, would I give what little I have to God? What are you holding back from God this morning? Because anything you hold back from God this morning, He can't bless. Your career, your money, your time, your reputation. Lord, you can have anything except what? I'm hanging on to that. Whatever you're holding back from God, God can't multiply it. But when you give to God, He takes it and multiplies it. Our relationships, our time, our talents, or whatever. If you need a miracle in your life this morning, you can't hold anything back from God. This is what Jesus said in one of the Gospels in Luke 6:38. Jesus said, "Give, it will be given to you. With the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Hey, God gives us the choice here, folks. Lose your life to find it. The more you give to others, the more God can bless it. And if there is one word to describe the Christian life, as I mentioned before, it is giving. It's not money, it's lifestyle. God so loved the world that He gave His only Son. If we want to be more like God, we have to learn to give. The third characteristic is giving cheerfully. Well, a little boy here in this gospel, in this story, gave with no hesitation. In 2 Corinthians 9, 7-8, each one should give, not grudgingly or because he is made to, for God loves a cheerful giver. Then there is no limit to the blessings God can send you. He will make sure that you always have all your needs for yourselves. Do you know any cheerful givers? I know a lot of cheerful spenders and a lot of cheerful savers. If you see giving as a chore or a grudge, you don't understand all of God's promises. And there are more promises about giving in the Bible than any other. Giving is not a debt I owe, it is a seed I sow. Write that one down. Giving is not a debt I owe, but a seed I sow. It's not a debt I owe. I pay my taxes, I pay my mortgage, I pay my gas and electric bills, I pay my car payments, I pay my uni fees, my insurances, I pay God. No, that's not it. It's not an expense, it's an investment. And the greatest example here is the farmer. With no seed, there's no crop. With no crop, there's no harvest. And with no harvest, there's no pay. And for those of you that have grown up in the rural area on a farm, I often read or hear on radio that farmers who have resented paying for tractors and machinery and insurance and labour costs and the weather, it's so dry and barren. But they have never resented sowing the seed because that's an investment, not an expense. Every farmer knows that no seed, no harvest. No harvest, no seed, no crop. It's the most important investment they make. And the same is true for you and me. When you have a need, plant a seed. You give to God what you have. And then a fourth characteristic here is the type of giving that sparks a miracle is you expect God to multiply it. Now, going back to the story here of the feeding of the 5,000, Jesus had been preaching all day to thousands for many hours. In the Gospels, it talked about it was in a remote area and it was late in the day. People were tired. People were hungry. The disciples were tired. And the disciples said to Jesus, just send them home. They're hungry. They've got a long way to walk. Thousands of people, send them home because they need something to eat. 5,000 hungry people. And Jesus said to his disciples, they need something to eat. You feed them. How would you react? He was asking the impossible, wasn't he? Physically, materially, time-wise, logistics, finances. Where were the disciples going to get all that food from? How do we transport it here? How do we get a health permit? You can imagine them talking to one another with the issue and the problem. How are we going to feed all these amount of people? They just couldn't do it. And God often asks us to do what seems the impossible. Why? I believe so that he can test our faith. Let's look at this verse in John's Gospel, John 6:6. Jesus already has in mind what he was going to do. In Mark 10:27, all things are possible with God. Hey, mate, you want to see my finances? All things are possible with God. Hey, you want to see my health and how old I am? All things are possible for God. You want to see the amount of work I have to do? All things are possible with God. God specialises in the impossible things. Yes, there's a song that we used to sing in Sunday school days and the early church days. Nothing is impossible if you put your trust in God. By the way, to get a miracle, you have to give to God so he can multiply it. Notice here in John verse 12 to 13, everyone ate and had enough. Afterwards, they collected 12 baskets of leftovers. God multiplied what was giving. There was so much left over. This little boy went home with 12 baskets of McFish sandwiches. What do you think his family said when he got home? Do you think they were surprised? Where did you get all this food from, son? Huh? Oh, I just gave it all to Jesus. He multiplied it over and over again. And friends, this morning, that's what Jesus wants to do with your life. What we give to God, he multiplies it. Give faithfully. Give cheerfully. You can't outgive God. This story is so important. And I know it's a story that's been told many times before. This story is so important, told in all four Gospels. Here he took what a young child offered and used it to accomplish one of the most spectacular miracles recorded in the Gospels. Age is no barrier to Christ. Never think you are too young or old to be of service to God. And I mentioned at the start that I believe God's presence has been impacting on people in a big way. And I believe this morning, the message this morning, I believe has gone out to you, and the principles of giving what you have, giving in faith, giving cheerfully. Well, God bless you this morning, and I hope this message has been a blessing to you. Just let me pray before we finish. Lord, I just ask you, Lord Father, that we come to you, Lord, as children of you, Lord, that we hang on to the promises that you have, that nothing is impossible with you, Lord, if we put our trust and faith in you, Lord. And Father, Lord, we just thank you for this story in the Bible, for you, Lord, the miracle that you brought. And Father, Lord, I ask, Lord, that you may just be with us at this time. As we conclude in Missions Month, Lord, I ask, Lord, that you may just lay upon our hearts people that we could reach out to. It's not our ability, it's our availability. We give to you what we have, Lord, not what we don't have, what we have that you may use and that you may multiply it. Thank you, Lord. Well, God bless you, and hopefully we'll catch up with you and see you soon.